All right, let's talk about a huge, fundamental flaw in how most companies keep score. Today we're going to explore why a business's success doesn't really depend on what happens inside its own four walls anymore, but on the health of its entire network of partners.
And that right there, that's the core idea. The days of a single company doing everything by itself, yeah, those are pretty much over. Modern business is a total team sport where dozens, sometimes even hundreds, of different companies have to work together perfectly just to bring a single product to you.
I mean, just think about a modern electric car. The battery cells, they might come from South Korea. The microchips from the US and the software from India. The cobalt that's needed for the battery is mined in the DRC, and then it all gets shipped to Germany for final assembly. It's this incredible global ballet of logistics and cooperation.
And that, right there, brings us to the big question. If all these separate companies are basically on the same team, working toward the same goal, how do we actually measure the team's success? Who's keeping score for the entire chain and not just the individual players?
Okay, so let's really dive into this. We're in an era where the whole idea of competition has totally changed. It's not just Ford versus Toyota anymore. Nope, it's the entire Ford supply chain going head-to-head with the entire Toyota's supply chain.
And this quote just nails it. It captures this new reality perfectly. The success of any one of those companies, it doesn't matter if you're the cobalt miner or the final car assembler, is completely tied to how well the whole network does. If just one link in that chain breaks, everybody suffers.
But, and this is a big but, here's the problem. While business has become a team sport, the way we do accounting is still stuck in the past, designed for a solo game. Every company keeps its own score, focusing only on its own profits, its own losses, and that creates this sort of great wall of information between partners. Think of it like a relay race. The single company mindset is obsessed with how fast each individual runner is. But the supply chain mindset, it knows the race is really won or lost in the handoffs. A fumbled baton pass, well, that just slows everyone down and creates waste for the entire team.
And those fumbled handoffs, they actually have a name in economics: transaction costs. And listen, this isn't the cost of raw materials or parts. No, it's the cost of coordinating. It's all the friction, the time you spend negotiating, the legal fees, the misunderstandings that slows the whole chain down and just eats away at the total profit.
This brings up another, very human hurdle: value chain envy. See, when partners only look at their own scorecard, they can start to resent another partner's success. They think, hey, why are they making so much money? Why am I not getting that? And that leads them to fight for a bigger slice of the pie, instead of, working together to make the whole pie bigger for everyone.
So, the big question is, how do the best supply chains break down these walls and avoid all these traps? Well, they use a completely different toolkit, one that's designed specifically for collaboration and for building a much more resilient network. One of the biggest, and I mean biggest, problems they have to solve is something called the bullwhip effect. Imagine a tiny little ripple of demand from a customer. As that signal travels up the supply chain from the retailer to the manufacturer to the raw material supplier, that tiny ripple can become a tidal wave of chaos. And here's that effect in action. It's wild. The customer wants 10 items. The retailer, just to be safe, orders 15. The manufacturer sees that bigger order, so they batch their production and order enough materials to build 40. And boom, now the whole chain is sitting on massive overstocks and wasted money, all because information wasn't shared well. So a key tool to fight this is called chained target costing. It's a total flip of the script. Instead of each company adding their costs and their profit margin down the line, which just inflates the final price, the entire chain works backward. They start with the price the customer is actually willing to pay, subtract the profit the entire chain wants to make, and that leaves them with a total allowable cost they have to hit, together.
At the end of the day, the best supply chains are really built on a foundation of trust. They use tools like open book accounting to share cost data openly, they use supply chain finance to help out weaker partners, and they manage risks as one unified team, not as a bunch of separate, scared companies. So, if you're going to manage the entire chain like it's one big virtual company, you just can't use the old scorecards. It doesn't work. You need a whole new set of metrics that measure the health and performance of the entire network.
What could a number like 90 days tell you? Well, a ton actually. This represents something called the cash-to-cash cycle. It's the total time that passes from the moment a company pays for its raw materials to the moment it gets cash from its customer. And in a supply chain, every single one of those days represents millions of dollars of cash that's just tied up, stuck in the system, unable to be used for growth.
This table just lays out the shift in perspective perfectly. Instead of just focusing on my net income, we're looking at the total supply chain surplus. Instead of just my inventory, we're managing that cash-to-cash cycle across the whole network. It's a move from a lonely balance sheet to a holistic health report for the whole team.
So what does this all boil down to? It all leads to this new understanding of the bottom line. In our super-connected world, trying to win all by yourself isn't just selfish, it's a failing strategy. The only way to build real, lasting success is to make sure your partners succeed right there with you.
This really gets to the heart of it all. Real value isn't created inside just one company. It's built step by step, link by link, as a product moves through the entire chain of partners. A company's profit is just its slice of the total value created by the team. True sustainable success is a shared victory. So the next time you pick up your phone or get into your car, don't just think about the brand name on it. Think about that invisible network, that whole chain of collaboration that had to work perfectly across countries and companies just to put that product in your hands. Thanks for watching.